Hello, everyone. My name is Braden. This is Airless209, and in today's video, we are going to talk about the Tao. These are the genies of the Earth. So genies of minerals and gemstones. Tao embody the resolve of rock. They use innate magic. They move through the earth unimpeded, exploring depths inaccessible to most. Tao like to delight in the treasures of the earth, whether these are raw gemstones, jewelry crafted from pure metals, or wondrous fossils. In exchange for some treasures, Tao might reveal underground mysteries, such as paths through the underdark, buried ruins, or whole subterranean realms. Many Tao call the elemental plane of Earth as their home. There are cities that they have created in this realm that glitter with treasure. And among these realms is the labyrinthine expanse called the Great Dismal Delve, or the Sevenfold Mazework, which protects the City of Jewels, the Iron Crucible, and the Strait of Magnets. So yeah, these genies are very rock and metal and mineral themed. They have a strong connection to gems and gemstones and the earth in general. And you can clearly see that represented in their art right here. And the stat block has seen quite a few revisions since its 2014 iteration. So we're going to talk about these changes and get straight into it because it's quite a few to discuss. So the Tao is a large elemental, is specifically a genie, as it is shown in the tag, and they are neutral aligned. They have an armor class of 18, an initiative of +1. They have 200 hit points. They have a speed of 30 feet, a burrow speed of 30 feet, and a fly speed of 30 feet. And they can hover. For their ability scores, they have a strength of 23, a dexterity of 12, a constitution of 14, an intelligence of 11, a wisdom of 13, and a charisma of 18. They also have proficiency in dexterity and wisdom saving throws. They are immune to the petrified condition. They have dark vision of 120 feet and a passive perception of 11. For languages, they know Primordial Terran, and they are a challenge rating 11 creature, which means they have 7,200 experience points and a proficiency bonus of +4. For their traits, they have Earth Glide. This allows the Tao to burrow through non-magical unworked earth or stone, and while doing so, the Tao doesn't disturb the material it moves through. So basically, it can burrow through the ground without causing any like hole or tunnel behind its wake, which is pretty nifty. Elemental Restoration says that if the Tao dies outside the elemental plane of Earth, its body dissolves into dirt and it gains a new body in 1d4 days, reviving with all of its hit points somewhere on the plane of Earth. In addition, the Tao has magic resistance, giving it advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. And the Tao has a trait called Wishes. This says that the Tao has a 30% chance of knowing the Wish spell. If the Tao knows it, the Tao can cast it only on behalf of a non-genie creature who communicates a wish in a way the Tao can understand. If the Tao casts the spell for the creature, the Tao suffers none of the spell's stress. Once the Tao has cast it 3 times, the Tao can't do so again for 365 days. Finally, we get actions. This says that the Tao has a multi-attack, allowing it to make 3 Earthen Maul attacks or 2 Earth Burst attacks. Earthen Maul is a melee attack roll with a +10 to hit and a reach of 5 feet. On a hit, it deals 4d6 +4 bludgeoning damage, and if the target is large or smaller creature, it has the prone condition. Earth Burst is a ranged attack roll, plus 10 to hit, range 120 feet. On a hit, it deals 2d8 plus 6 bludgeoning damage, and on a hit or miss, the Earth explodes from the target space, creating the following effect. This is a dexterity saving throw, DC 16. Each creature in a 10-foot emanation originating from and including the target, and on a failure, those targets take 3d6 thunder damage. So a lot happening with that Earth Burst. And finally, the Tao also has a spell casting action. This allows it to cast one of the following spells requiring no material components and using Charisma as the spell casting ability. Spell save DC 16. At will, it can cast Detect Evil and Good, Detect Magic, Stone Shape. On once per day each, it can cast Gaseous Form, Invisibility, Move Earth, Pass Wall, Plane Shift, Tongues, and Wall of Stone. So with all that out of the way, let's talk about the changes from the 2014 DAO, and then we'll talk about what changes I really enjoy here. So first off, I did not underline it, but in 2014, the DAO's alignment is listed as neutral evil. Since the DAO is now listed as neutral, this just means that the DAO can be any alignment. Because for some reason in 2024, they've removed the any alignment tag for alignment, and now if the creature can be any alignment, they have just put neutral as a base. And of course, you can always change the alignment of a creature without rhyme or reason, as long as it fits your story. But that's just what that change indicates there. The next change here is in the amount of hit points that the DAO has. So beforehand, it used to only have 15 hit dice. So its hit points have gone up accordingly since it's gained an additional hit die, because it now has 16. So its hit points have gone up from 187 to 200 now. In addition, the DAO did not have the hover ability attached to its fly speed before, so that is entirely new there. And also, in addition, the DAO has gotten some changes in its ability scores and saving throws. So it has gained proficiency in dexterity saving throws. It has lost proficiency in intelligence and charisma saving throws, but its charisma modifier has also gone up by 4 because it was 14 and it is now 18, so that is a relevant change there. The next change that we are really going to look at is elemental restoration. There was a trait in the old DAO called elemental demise, but that feature specifically did not state that the DAO gained a new body in the plane of Earth and revived with all of its hit points 1d4 days later. So this is kind of a new feature, but it's really a revised feature with additional information in it. So I did want to underline it there because that is relevant. Also, in addition, the DAO did not have the magical resistance trait beforehand, so that is entirely new for it. It used to have a trait called Sure-Footed, giving it advantage on strength and dexterity saving throws against effects that would knock it prone. So that has been completely removed, and they now have magic resistance instead. So that's changed there. And the Wishes trait is entirely new here. This was not present in the old DAO stat block, so this is entirely new here, and just gives honestly some rules on how a DAO might be able to cast Wish for a non-genie creature. So some pretty interesting things present there. And yeah, it's nice to have that option available if that's the route that you want to go in a campaign. Obviously, if not, just completely ignore the Wishes trait and you're perfectly fine. So we do have some changes in the actions section. This comes in the Earthen Maul and Earth Burst. These are entirely new attacks. These have replaced the Fist and Maul attacks that the old Dao has or had. So these are basically entirely new here. But really, the main changes here are with Earth and Maul. This has effectively replaced the Maul attack. The damage is the same as beforehand, but it did have a different additional thing tacked onto it that said if the target is a huge or smaller creature, it must succeed on a DC 18 strength check or be knocked prone. So that has been removed and is now placed with this one that targets large or smaller creatures and then immediately prones them. So yeah, that's a entirely new change there. In addition, the Earth Burst, I believe, has replaced the Fist, but there are some significant changes here. First off, it's a ranged attack now. It does deal that same amount of damage because it was 2d8 plus 6, so that's relevant there, but all the additional stuff tacked onto it is entirely new. So that makes it almost completely different. And then finally, we need to get to the spell casting trait action. So first off, the spell save DC has gone up since the Dao's Charisma modifier has increased. So it used to be 14, it's now 16 presently. So that's a significant increase there. And the Dao has lost some spells, though not a whole lot that really make a huge significant difference. I think the main things that lost here are Conjure Elemental, we have Phantasmal Killer, and honestly that's basically it. So it can't use Phantasmal Killer anymore and it can't Conjure Elemental anymore. So honestly not a whole lot of changes here. It did used to be able to cast Pass Wall, Move Earth, and Tongues 3 times per day each, so that has changed. But honestly, it probably didn't ever cast this more than once per day. So not a whole big change there. But I do want to say overall, I think this Dao has been greatly improved since its 2014 iteration. I do like the additional hit points. I like the ability to hover. Magic resistance is very good. And the new attacks are very flavorful for the Dao. And they give its action economy something a lot more interesting than it had previously. And I honestly really like these changes here. So yeah, some pretty interesting stuff happening there. But yeah, that's about it for the Dao. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. We're now in the D's, so we have finished all of the C creatures and now moving on to the D section. So keep an eye out for more videos in this series where we're going over every monster in the 2024 Monster Manual. Every weekday is when those videos release, so keep an eye out for those. But until the next one, thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you later.